Assalamualaikum to Madam Hasmiza. My name is NURIN AMANI binti Muhammad FAISAL. My teammate and I will present and explain about psychological skill training. Okay, what is psychological skill training? Psychological skill training is known as PST. Is technical name given to the use of comprehensive mental training program to help athletes achieve peak performance. So, now move to the further to deep breathing and self-talk. First is deep breathing. To perform their best performance, athletes need to use their mind as well as their body. Also, mental technique help to control emotion, manage the stress and improve the participation of the athletes. Next, I will explain how to practice deep breathing. Before we get started, we have to wear a suitable and comfortable clothes and choose a proper place like in peaceful room or on comfortable chair. It could be in living room or in the bed. First, get into the comfortable position and straight your back. Second, close the eyes and breathe in using nose and breathe out using mouth. During the deep breathing process, try to breathe involve abdominal muscle and try to imagine that ourselves in a relaxing place and situation, and also try feel it throughout of our body. Lastly, repeat the inhalation and exhalation slowly for 10 seconds in each season. Next psychological training is self-talk. Self-talk is a psychological process which is communicating with ourselves about a situation which a previous or current performance, and it may be either positive or negative. For example, in situation which is when footballer fail to score a goal, the negative self-talk is like, why my kick was so bad, why my performance was so bad. And for positive self-talk is like, I will try my best and I can do it. So, usually athletes will use positive self-talk especially when they are in challenging situation during performance. Furthermore, self-talk is involved thought control, which is in changing negative thinking to positive thinking. Before proceed to positive thinking, we have to identify negative thinking first. Okay, first we have identify and focus what is negative aspect of a situation and ignore all the positive aspect. Second, after we identify and know what is the negative thinking, we can work to turn negative thinking to positive thinking. Finally, with application of deep breathing and self-talk, athletes can decrease the anxiety level, improve concentration and the performance, also improve an athlete's self-confidence. Okay, that's all from me. To talk about our next topic of psychological skill training, we have QISTINA AMALIA. Thank you.
My name is QISTINA AMALIA binti RAMLEE. I will present about how to evaluate imagery ability and how to practice imagery ability. But first of all, what is imagery ability? Imagery ability is to go through performance in mind before and during competition. They help to make an unfamiliar and challenging sport situation familiar and manageable in mind of athlete before competition. We take an example football. Okay. I will imagine that I'm playing football, but my mind, but only in my mind, not in real. So I can imagine before I enter the field, how I will play in the field, something like that. Next is how to evaluate imagery ability. Firstly, before, during, and after practice, real skill learning and performing. Of course, you need to imagine what skill learning that will you do before you want to practice, and you need to imagining after the practice. Secondly, before competition, review strategies, past successes, and relaxing thought. Seeing the opponent doing well, of course you want to do well too. So you need to imagine some strategies to make sure you are same level with the opponent or you are more advanced from them. Therefore, you can beat them in the competition better. And you can also flashback your previous matches that you won, so it will lead you to be more encouraged or will be more confident to playing well. Thirdly, during competition, skill execution, strategies, and feeling successful. During competition, it's more like you need to all of your skill And of course, when you are, we take example like when there are someone that want to attack you or the opponent want to attack you, you need to immediately imagine the strategies, or you need to do strategies that what happen if they attack you. Maybe you fail, maybe you will lose the game or something just like that. And lastly, after competition, good and bad aspects of performance. Either you win or you lose. You need to review back about the good thing that you do in the match and the bad thing that you do in the match. Like making the good thing is you make a goal and you lead your team to win the match, and the bad thing is maybe you are miss a few about making goal, something just like that. Lastly is how to practice imagery. Firstly, physical respond in situation. Okay, we take a back example about the imagine you are running to the opponent goal. You want to make a goal, and of course the opponent will be attacking you or will avoid you from making goal. So you need to respond it, or you need to try imagine it before they succeed to do it. Then secondly, environmental should be similar to actual environment. Just like when you are training, you should training in the open field, which the outsiders or the audiences will can see you to playing the match. So it will give you more encouragement to doing well in the match, because you are already adapt with the both of the environment in the training or in the competition. Thirdly, task need to be close to actual task. Next, timing, slow motion versus real time. Okay, this time usually the coach will record the video to make sure that everyone can know that he can analyze or review what need to improve, what should be maintained, and everything about the player that the coach will record, and they will make it slow motion to see the movement. Next is learning, imagery adapt as athlete improvement. Next, emotion, experiencing emotions within performance. This more like example of you make a goal. You make a goal in the when you are practice or in the competition, because make a goal is this great feeling that every football player have. So in the middle of the training, even though you are training, you need to all up, you need to be serious and all of about it. So if you try to adapting it or you try measuring it on the practice, will be advanced to you to getting used it when in the real competition. And lastly, perspective, internal versus external. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is SYAHIRAH AMIRAH binti MOHAMAD SYAHARUDIN. In my slide, I will explain about how to evaluate anxiety level. Okay, so before we start, I will explain about what is anxiety. Okay, so anxiety is a feeling unease such as worry or fear that can be mild or severe. Everyone has feelings anxiety at some point in their life. In sport, anxiety defined as unpleasant psychological state in perceived stress concerning the performance of a task under pressure. For example, you may feel worried about your upcoming matches. Anxiety can be diagnosed, but anxiety is not a simple diagnosis. It's not caused by a germ that can be detected in the blood. but it takes many forms and can also accompany other medical conditions. Okay, so to diagnose anxiety, you must complete a physical examination. Okay, a complete personal history is also necessary for your psychologist to make an accurate diagnosis. Okay, so the next slide is diagnostic test. It suggested that you complete a self-assessment questionnaire before other testing. This can help you decide whether you have an anxiety or if you may be reacting to a certain situation or event. Okay, so if your self-assessment lead you to believe that you may have an anxiety disorder, then they ask you to take a clinical assignment or conduct a structured interview with you. Okay, so there are 5 types of anxiety test, which is first the sport competitive anxiety sport. Second, the sport anxiety scale. Third, generalized anxiety disorder. Fourth, zone self-rating anxiety scale. And 5, pen state worry questionnaire. Okay, first test is the sport competitive anxiety sport. Okay, this anxiety test is possible to determine the level of anxiety. The test you will require 15 items of questionnaire. Okay, so in this test, you must read each statement and decide if you rarely, sometimes, and often when competing in your sport, and tick the appropriate answer to indicate your responses. This is the sport anxiety scale. Okay, sport anxiety scale is a multi-dimensional measure of cognitive and somatic trait anxiety in sport performance. In this anxiety test, have a 15 item of question A, same like sport competitive anxiety sport. The scale includes somatic anxiety, worry, and concentration disruption. Okay, next, the third anxiety test is generalized anxiety disorder scale. This anxiety test have 7 questions for generalized anxiety disorder. Their answer option is include not at all, several days, more than half the day, and or every day. Okay. The fourth anxiety test is pen state worry questionnaire. It used to measure of worry. Okay, this test it use 16 questions to measure your worry generality, excessiveness, and uncontrollability. So the last of anxiety test is zone self-rating anxiety scale. Okay, in this anxiety test, it have a 20 item of questionnaire, and this anxiety test is to rate our anxiety from a little of the time to most of the time. Okay, so what I said before, anxiety in sport is unpleasant psychological state in reaction to perceived stress. So a few player football is diagnosed general anxiety disorder. The diagnosis generalized when a player worries excessively about a game. Player also may visit a psychologist before they find out that they have this anxiety. Okay, so how can we treat this anxiety. Okay, so there are two medication that used to treatment this generalized anxiety disorder is anti-anxiety medication and antidepressant. Okay, so we move to the next slide.
Okay, thank you, Syahirah. My name is ADRIANA BINTI. I will presenting about how to evaluate mood level. So, what is mood? Moods, they have two types, which is they have positive and also negative. Moods refers to emotional state of very fine intensity that change in response to life circumstances. Moods also undifferentiated, slower to change, and objectless in that people may not know the cause or sources of the mood. How to evaluate our mood level? There are many ways to evaluate the mood level, such as mood scoring, pictorial self-report measures, facial recognition, and skin conductance. For mood scoring, we can download some of application such as Mood Scoop, and in that application, we need to answer some questions so that they can calculate our mood on that time. Next, for pictorial self-report measure, several are available to measure basic dimensions. In fact, the most famous is a set of 3 pictorial assessments. Scale that measure the pleasure, arousal, and dominance associated with a person's affective state. The last one, facial recognition and skin conductance. We evaluate our mood level using a system. They're using a wristband, finger or earrings, glove, t-shirt, and even underwear. Last but not least, we go to the how to conduct the test in part. First, the assistant will explain to the athlete about the test protocol. They will read each statement below, and the athlete need to decide how they have been feeling in the respect to the statement in the past week and today, and select the appropriate statement such as not at all, a little, moderately, quite a lot, or extremely to indicate their feeling. Second, the athlete responds to the 65 statements on the questionnaire below with no limit time. And lastly, the assistant determines and records the athlete's mood test scores on that time also. That's all from us. Thank you.